Hey guys, so I know this video is late. You know what? I've been very busy this week and I hope you guys really forgive me. I could list the things that you want me to, state that I've been distracted with. College. Life. Overall. Girl, you know you was not distracted. You were partying with your friends. Shh! Shut up! They don't need to know that. Okay? Oh, it's recording. Anyway, let's get back to what you're all waiting for. This is going to be a recap and review of episode 2 of the Criminal Minds' new season called Burn. And it was a very, very emotional episode. This week's episode primarily focused on what happened on the season finale of last season. It was when Reed got shot and Garcia had to essentially save Reed when the unsub tried to poison him when he was in the hospital. So throughout this episode, you get the sense that Garcia feels really guilty about shooting Greg Baylor, because in the beginning, you see that she has a dream about Greg Baylor getting electrocuted in the electric chair. And she feels that she needs to see him to tell him that she didn't mean for it to happen and that she didn't mean for him to go be on death row. Morgan does not think she should be guilty at all. In fact, he doesn't even want her anywhere near him. He doesn't support her idea of going to Texas or anything, and they had this little mini fight that I was really surprised for, because Garcia supports him in every crazy thing that he does, no matter how bad or rude it might be. And it was just shocking that he didn't support her, and it was very weird seeing them fight, because they're like the comic relief for the whole show. So throughout this whole episode, they didn't talk for most of it. Cut to the next scene, you see this man who's in a bathtub that's filled with murky water, and he's screaming for help, and in the spirit of Criminal Minds, he's probably gonna be the next one to die. In comes the unsub, who sort of looks like the Chinese guy from The Hangovers. Don't act like you guys don't know who I'm talking about. He comes in with these little circle glasses that sort of remind me of a futuristic type thing. If you guys ever seen The Fifth Element, they probably had those freaking glasses in them. I don't know what to call them. They were just freaking hilarious to look at. So he takes the man, he tries to drown him, but when it doesn't work, he hits him over the head. And then you get a wider frame, and you see that the unsub is in his underwear. What? Why would they put him in his underwear? That makes him it doesn't make me take him seriously. Cut back to Garcia, who is now in Texas. She's going to jail, and so she meets this African-American woman, and she starts talking about baby daddies and all that stuff. And I'm telling you, when I say that I laughed my ass off, I did. It was so hilarious. After that whole, comic relief of this episode, she goes to the prison, and she wants to see Greg Baylor. However, he doesn't want to see her. And she's shocked because she desperately wants to let him know that she didn't mean for him to be on death row, and she tried so hard to get him off, and she doesn't want him to die. So the fact that he doesn't want to see her, it's sort of, it makes her feel worse, and you really see that. So now that she can't see him, it sort of has her stuck. So she calls Morgan, and he doesn't answer, and she leaves this heartbreaking message, and you could tell that she's just desperate to talk to someone who understands how she feels. And it's very heartbreaking. I understand how she feels. I would feel guilty as well. It's just such a conflict that she's having within herself, and she feels very stuck. Morgan doesn't answer, of course, because he's still mad at her, but also he's working with Reed, trying to figure out what's going on. What is this unsub signature? And they find cut slashes in the victims' mouths. Reed, as brilliant as this man is, he figures out that it's Roman numerals, and he's numbering his victims. Why? Nobody knows yet. So they find the bodies with the Roman numerals 3, 4, and 5. So now they have to find the first two, which seems to be a whole lot easier because they found them in 2 seconds. So now that they found the first two victims, it has them even more confused because the Unsub is killing his victims 5 different ways. He crushed one, drowned one, asphyxiated one, and there's no similar pattern other than the fact that he puts Roman numerals in their mouths. So now they have to find out the piece to this puzzle. And the Unsub, which is played by C.S. Lee, which you now see his face, you see him bringing out this man. Well, C.S. Lee, he puts this man inside of a coffin, and you see him pouring lighter fluid on top of the coffin in the middle of nowhere. Here is why this specific part scares the ever-loving crap out of me. That right there, that is my worst nightmare. 1, I'm claustrophobic. I don't like tight spaces. 2, the fact of being burned alive utterly terrifies me to no end. I just can't. As you guys guessed, he sets him on fire, and the rest of his history is now burnt to a crisp. Reed then figures out that the Unsub is recreating the 9 circles of hell from the book called Dante's Inferno. The 9 circles of hell is basically how it sounds. Most of them, which I think 7 of them, yeah, 7 of them are basically the areas that people go to who commit the 7 deadly sins. Another one is consistent with people who don't believe in God, like atheists or agnostics or whatever, and they go to limbo. The other one I was not so sure about. I'll probably link that down here once I figure that out. Soon they get a lead on this kid who goes to college, and from the looks of it, he looks pretty creepy. Like, he looks like he wants to kill everybody in his school because everybody's picking on him and stuff. You see him go through the hallways, and you see people laughing at him and staring at him, and you sort of feel bad for him. And then he goes into this room, and he pulls out something from under his bed, and you see that he has explosives under his bed. Like, he's about to blow up the whole entire school. Once they have him in custody, they're trying to figure out why is he doing this, because he doesn't fit the age group of the actual killings. When they try to question him, he keeps repeating the same phrase, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here," which I would assume is from the book Dante's Inferno. Hatch doesn't think that he's the Unsub because these killings are symbolic of something larger. So he thinks that the Unsub is taking this journey with a Virgil, which is a second person. And he thinks that the Unsub will continue to kill until all 9 circles are complete. As they are looking for the Unsub, or continuing to for that matter, you go back to Garcia, who's in bed in her pajamas eating a lot of junk food, and she doesn't know what to do. She leaves Morgan another heartbreaking message, just begging him to talk to her. When she hangs up, her phone rings and she thinks that it's Morgan, but it's actually the prison. And she gets a call from Greg Baylor, and he tells her to meet him in the prison ward. And of course she says yes, because that's the whole purpose of her being there. And at first, when she walks through the room, he's very combative and rude and just overall not a very nice person. You start to think that he deserves to be there. But Garcia sees through that, and eventually he breaks his facade and he says, "You know what, you're the only person that reached out to me, and I'm very grateful for that." So after he says this, he asks Garcia for one request, and that is for him to be there when he's executed. Of course, upon hearing this, Garcia is confused. She doesn't know what to do, and the meeting ends, and she goes home to her hotel and thinks about it. And of course, she calls Morgan again, and he declines her call. While Garcia is going through this whole mess and questioning her morals and all of these different emotions, Morgan, Reed, and the rest of the BAU are this close to finding the Unsub, and then they get a hit. The student that they had arrested, he had gotten the book Dante's Inferno from his teacher. They soon find the teacher, and they realize that his backstory was he was abused as a child along with his brother. Because of this abuse, his brother committed suicide. And the thing that his brother and him had in common is that they read Dante's Inferno. So this whole killing spree was I guess, to avenge him in some way. His brother was acting as the Virgil. So with the BAU not far behind him, the unsub is trying to kill another person, but while he's about killing the person, you get to see inside the unsub's mind and what he's thinking, because he's not thinking that that is a human being that he's never met before. He is thinking that that is his father, and it's like all the stuff that his father did to him is making him hallucinate, and it's making him kill all these different people. So of course the BAU comes in just in time, and case is solved. Everybody is on their way home on the jet, and then here comes the most emotional part of the episode. Greg Baylor walking to, I guess, his final steps, and he gets into the room and he gets strapped in, and it's very emotional and I guess heart-wrenching, because even though he's done wrong, you feel all of the emotions that he's going through, and you feel like he is about to die. They ask him for his last words, and there's a long pause, and he looks through every person that's witnessing his death, and he sees Penelope Garcia, and he says thank you. So those being his last words, they push in the plunger, and he dies. This part of the show was the most emotional, and I wasn't expecting it. I almost cried, my mother almost cried. It was very unexpected, but I guess it was needed, because we never as an audience see the aftermath of situations like this. So I think it sort of brought questions into your mind, and I guess it put your mind at ease knowing that justice was served. Well, when Garcia comes home, who's awaiting at her doorstep but Morgan, and I think that was a great ending to the episode, because you see that they make up and you see him comfort her, which I think is very, very important, and I loved it. Overall, I would give this episode a 9 out of 10 stars, because the writing was so well done. The way that they continued the storyline and then ended it, and you have no more questions about what happened, is fantastic. The docket 1 star, because I feel like they could have done so much with this unsub that they didn't really do, because they didn't have time for it, because you had to deal with Garcia and Greg Baylor and the whole situation with Reed that happened last season in this half, and then you had to deal with the unsub, which is on that half, and smush it into 42 minutes, which made it seem a little rushed. I feel like they could have done 2 separate episodes and it would have been fantastic. But being as they had to do it in 42 minutes, I think it was really well done, and I do commend the writers for that. Well guys, this has been my review of episode 2, Burn, from Criminal Minds season 10. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Like, comment, and share this video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you want to see past videos, I'll probably put it in the box over here. I'm not sure which side it's going to be. This side. Oh, look at it. Watch it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will try to post every week on time. I guarantee you these videos are going to be before the next episode, but just bear with me. I'm still trying to work out my schedule. I am a college student, for crying out loud. But I love you guys so much. Bye. Bloopies. Yeah, like he's about to blow up the whole entire school. Not that I would blame him, but still it's kind of wrong. Yeah, that could be taken out of context very quickly. Oh, why? Light. Why won't this lighting work? Oh, snap. Sorry. Okay, let me start out by saying I know this video is very late, and you guys have to realize I'm a college student. I am very, very busy, and I go to work and do all these different things. I need to know that.